And we made about $100 a cow by feeding them MGA for 7 days. Pretty effective tool. Keys to understanding progesterones, and actually it took me a little bit of time to think through this. All that data was whole herd treatment. Every cow got a cedar, every cow got MGA, turn them all with a bull, treated everything the same. If you stop thinking about it, not every cow needs the progesterone, right? That mature body condition score 6 cow that you know cycling, progesterone doesn't do anything for her. Okay? So, with that understanding, okay, that it really works in the anestrus cows, why don't we target those? Okay? And that's what this project was about. At 4 herds of about 289 cows, the length of their calving season was 87 days. They wanted to shorten it up. Okay? Here was the breakdown. They had on those 4 herds, they had 43 2-year-olds, 122 cows that I called late calving, which were 7 to 45 days. PP means postpartum or after calving. Okay? And then everything else calved earlier than that. So what I did was I assumed that these early calving cows in good flesh didn't need any help. And we did the ain't broke, don't fix it deal. Okay, we left them alone. These other groups we treated. Okay? The problem cows, those ones that were later calving than the 2-year-olds, we put a cedar in for 7 days, turn the bull out for 2 months. The 122 cows that we assumed didn't need help, we got 96% of them pregnant in that 60 days. 76% were pregnant in the first 30 days, 19% in the last. The 124 before, the 122 cows that were late calving, we got 93% of them pregnant, 82% pregnant in the first 30 days, because they actually bred up a little better than the cycling cows, because we forced them to have heat in the first few days of the breeding season. Okay? And they had more opportunities in that first 30 days actually than the cycling cows. The cool part about that is about half of those 122 cows were only 1 to 3 weeks from calving when we put the cedar in. Got 88.5% of them pregnant, 75, almost 75% of them bred in the first 30 days. So they went from late April to March calvers by putting the cedar in for 7 days. Now, we've repeated this experiment on multiple farms, and really when this dawned on me, sometimes we don't always think things through, okay? I was at Greg George's, Dr. Arnold, I don't know if you know Greg down in Princeton, running this project there, but it was a little different. I was palpating them, and if they were open, then we'd put a cedar in them. If they were pregnant, we wouldn't. Okay, well I got into some that didn't feel either way. Well she just calved. Takes about 2 weeks for the uterus to get back down to normal size. Okay, so give them 2 weeks before we put the cedar in. Okay, now it was effective a week after they calved, but we're kind of getting out of it. It doesn't make sense to do it then. Okay, so let's give them 2 weeks, put the cedar in for 7 days, and you're going to have these cows are body condition score 5 or greater. Okay, so we don't want to be fighting the nutrition problem also. Okay, the 2-year-olds bred just like the really late calving cows. Got 88.5% of them pregnant, about 75% in the first 30 days.
How did they do with breeding back?
Then the year after, actually those cows stayed good for about 2 years.